5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hello pals, welcome back to another weekly reading vlog. I hope you're doing good. Today is Monday the 26th, of September, so we're starting off on a Monday, we're off to a good start. I am currently in the midst of two different books, so I will put my coffee down. This is The Blade Itself, which is the first book in the First Law trilogy by Jo Abercrombie. I recently mentioned this in my autumnal TBR, so I'm diving straight into that TBR. So again, off to a good start. I am about 100 pages into this. You can hear my initial thoughts in last week's reading vlog, and I am really enjoying this so far. It is my first foray into like the grimdark fantasy subgenre. I have read a couple of the Game of Thrones books years ago, and I think they probably count as grimdark, but let's talk about the book that I'm actually holding. So far, I've met 3 or 4 of who I think are going to be sort of major players in this book, if not the series as a whole. I am enjoying how everybody is being presented. We get a good view of their like internal like thoughts and some internal like monologue sort of stuff, which, you know, you see in books all the time, but I just really like how it's been done here. I think Jo Abercrombie has done a really good job with that. I don't have much of an idea of the sort of larger world, like macro scale, political machinations and reasons for things. Now, whether that's because we don't know yet or because I just haven't read into the subtext is a different question. Either way, I'm not fussed because I don't read into subtext. I'm simply not very good at it, but I'm just intrigued to see where it all goes. I think I did mention in last week's reading vlog that this is more on the political side of fantasy than the super magical side of fantasy, but there is a wizardy type figure. There are some spirits that have been mentioned and we've encountered, and I'm really hoping that we see more of that side of things, because that's why I like fantasy. I'm all about the like magical side of things, but either way, I'm enjoying my time with this. I absolutely flew through the first 100 or so pages over the weekend, and as long as I can dedicate some time to sit down and actually read this, I've got no doubt I will fly through it this week, and I will of course keep you posted as to what I think. Now, the second book that I'm in the middle of, I don't have a physical copy, I'm listening to the audiobook, and that is Nona the Ninth by Tamsyn Muir, the third book in the Locked Tomb series. We know me. We know that I'm loving this book. I don't even need to tell you that I'm loving this book, and unfortunately I can't tell you anything actually about this book because everything would be spoilers. Literally, even some of the characters that are listed on the blurb on the back of the book, even the existence of certain characters in this book is kind of spoilery given previous events if you aren't caught up. So all I can say is that I am loving this book. I'm really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying not knowing what the fuck is going on, which is my experience, and I think the universal experience of reading the Locked Tomb series. Truly, you have no idea what's happening until it's happened, and even then you don't really know what happened, so I'm just having a good time. The audiobook is fantastic. I forget the name of the audiobook narrator, but she has narrated the 3 books so far and does a really, really good job of them, so I would highly recommend the audiobooks if you're thinking of reading this series and you don't feel like you want to read it physically, or if, like me, your copy of Nona the Ninth just hasn't been delivered. So that is my currently reading update, where I am with my books at the moment. Aside from books, nothing too exciting is happening this week. It is my birthday on Thursday. I'm gonna have lunch with my dad and my brother, but I don't have any major plans. But at this point I feel like I'm saying words just to say them, so I'm gonna end this little vlog introduction here and catch up with you when I've read something. I hate filming wrap-ups. I just filmed my what I've read since I've been gone from BookTube, 9 books in 6 months video, which will be up before this, so go watch that if you haven't already. I should be selling it better, shouldn't I? It was incredible, it was amazing, it was outstanding. Everything I said was coherent and wonderful. If you haven't seen it, you're missing out. Yeah, so that's done at least. I actually don't have much of a reading update because I've not really been reading. Today is Wednesday. I look very dramatic. I had an incident with black eyeshadow. We're not going to talk about it. I'm going to pretend it's autumnal and gothic and grungy. But yeah, so it's Wednesday morning-ish. I'm going to go get some breakfast. Because what time actually is it? It's like 11. I'm going to go get some breakfast. And then tomorrow's my birthday. So today I'm going to do some like chores and make things nice so that I don't have to do anything tomorrow. I'm going to edit the video I just filmed and get it done and uploaded and scheduled so that it will go live on Friday and I don't have to worry about it. I just don't have to worry about it. And then I'm going to do some chores and I'm going to do some reading. I have read a smidgen more of Nona, but as previously established, I actually can't tell you anything about the book because it would all be spoilers. But I am excited. I think I've got, let me see. Okay, I've got 9 hours of listening at the speed that I listen to. 9 hours left. And I think I'm like a quarter to a third of the way through. And we've met some people, which I'm very excited about. More information has been given to us, which means I'm more confused than ever, which is great. So I want to know things. I'm excited. I'm getting into it. I'm having a good time with Nona. Technically, I did also read about 3 pages of The Blade itself yesterday evening, and then the cat was being annoying and kept trying to sit here, so I couldn't physically read, so I just gave up. That's my kind of reading, not very update. And the plan is I will have another update for you this evening, and I will have read some things, but we'll see. Hello pals, it is Friday. It is raining. I've just been caught in the rain, but I came home to a fresh cup of tea made for by my brother, so things are not all bad. And I actually finally have some reading updates for you. Firstly, I've made significant progress with The Blade itself by Abercrombie. I am reading the Kindle version, so I'm not sure exactly where I am, but I think I'm nearly halfway through. This book is split into a part 1 and a part 2. I finished the part 1, so I can only imagine that I've finished all of the kind of setup that we're going to get for this book. And now we're going to move into some consequences and some action, presumably. And now that I've actually read a little bit, I can tell you a little bit more about what's going on in this book. Only a little bit, because either we've not been given a whole bunch of details or I've just not been paying attention. But when we start this book, it's obviously not even aftermath, just there has been war and there has been friction between the North and the South in this fantasy nation. We have several different perspectives which we are following, and so there is this kind of war brewing. There's disruption. Disrest isn't a word. There's unrest. The kind of so-called King of the North, I think, wants to make that an official title and wants to break from the South, but I think technically speaking, the king in the South is king of everywhere. Like I say, if we've been given the political details, I have just simply not paid attention to them, but I kind of don't think that's super important. One of the perspectives in the South is of an inquisitor who has been tasked with rooting out corruption in the Mercers Guild, and that has kind of come to a head. And funnily enough, it perhaps was not as straightforward as it seems, and perhaps there is more corruption going on elsewhere. We have a couple of the other perspectives going on. I can kind of see how some of them are going to interact plot-wise, but I'm not quite sure how everything is going to come together plot-wise, which obviously is the point of reading the second half of the book. But I'm very interested to see. I'm very engaged with this book. I'm really, really enjoying it. This is exactly the kind of fantasy that I wanted to be reading, because I do like a political fantasy, but as you can tell, I don't like when it gets too bogged down in the details of like who is king and who is heir and who is the 18th cousin who needs to be assassinated so that somebody else can be chief of whoever. Like, I don't really care about that. And I think one of the reasons this is working so well for me is that none of the perspectives that we are following are kind of the people in charge. And obviously the people in charge are never really the people in charge. There's always other people behind the scenes. Everybody we're following is kind of several steps removed from whoever is supposedly making all of these decisions. So I expect that everybody will be pivotal in the plot and that everybody will interact, and that will all make sense plot-wise. But I think it's just a really interesting way of telling this story, because at the end of the day, war between the North and the South of a fantasy nation is like a very well-worn story setup. So I really like this way of telling it, rather than having us following like the king in the North and the king in the South and somebody's chief counsel or whoever. Like, we're following not random people, but kind of more cogs in the machine, maybe. The characters are just as good as everybody has said Joe Abercrombie's characters are. I'm really enjoying them so far. It seems to be living up to all the praise that he's gotten. They're all very just complex and really interesting, because none of them are really wholly fulfilling or sticking to the like character tropes and archetypes that you think they're going to be when you first meet them, when you're first introduced to them. Everybody is a little bit interesting and surprising and more multifaceted than just a straightforward like fantasy character. I'm really, really enjoying this, as you can tell. I don't know if I'll read any more today, because my plan is to read some more of Nona the Ninth, or indeed listen to some more of the Nona the Ninth. I haven't read that much more since I last spoke to you, mainly because I just haven't done a lot of the stuff that I would usually listen to an audiobook while doing. But my plan is to do so this evening, because I have, can you see? My brother got me the bonsai tree Lego set, which I am very excited about. So I think I'm going to spend my evening building that while listening to Nona the Ninth. I have faith in my abilities to build Lego, that it will not be so complicated that I won't be able to concentrate on my audiobook while I do it. I think I'm somewhere between a third and halfway through. So we've been introduced to various new characters, we've been reintroduced to some old characters, we're seeing them in this new setting, because the setting for Nona is completely different to either of the first two books, which were both different from each other. So we've kind of been introduced to the setting. There's mentions of interesting things, and I'm trying to place what they might be referencing from the previous books and just being called something different, or perhaps they are just something different. Yeah, that's my update, and I will chat to you again when I have more to say. Hello pals, it's Saturday. I made my little Lego bonsai tree. How cute is that? With the little frogs. Adorable. And I am now over halfway through Nona the Ninth. I am having feelings about it. I am not okay about Nona the Ninth. I thought I knew kind of what was going on, kind of. Or if I didn't know what was going on, I was at least comfortable that I knew the general shape of what was happening. And I was wrong, and now I have no idea what was going on. I'm a little bit over halfway through. I've just finished, let me see, for those of you who have read Nona, I'm on day 4 and I've just finished chapter 18. And several things happen in quick succession. In the last couple of chapters, several things have happened. We've been reintroduced to several characters from previous books in ways that I'm confused about. Sort of some dots have been connected with other characters, and I'm not sure who certain people are, but I don't know if that's because I'm not supposed to know or if I've just missed something. So I kind of want to look them up, but I don't want any spoilers, so I think I'm just going to roll with the confusion. But like, dear God, do I wish I had a physical copy of this book so I could kind of flip back, because I am a bit lost and confused. And also, Camilla and Palamedes, I'm having so many feelings. I'm having a lot of feelings. I'm having a lot of feelings, and I think I'm going to spend the rest of the day listening to Nona the Ninth. You remember at the beginning of this week when I was like, yeah, I'm just going to like take it at its own pace. No, I need to know. I need to know. I know I won't get any answers, but I need to keep going just in case. And I don't know if I am prepared to be devastated. Like, I don't think I'm prepared for that to be my reality, but I do know that it's coming. That's my reading update. That's my Nona reading update. I've not read anything more of The Blade itself since we last spoke because I ended up just watching shit on YouTube for hours instead of going to bed early and reading. So bad choices were made. Anyway, today is October 1st, which means the Gothtober readathon has started. I'm not going to do its own TBR video because I just did a TBR video and I don't think I'm going to stick to these prompts, so I'll do that. I probably won't do it right now because I'm still in like Nona shock. That's where I'm at, and I will catch you later. It's been a few hours. I have walked the dog, eaten my body weight in Doritos, had a bit of a sleep. I've recovered at least partially from the chaos of Nona the Ninth, and I thought I would do my Gothtober TBR. There is a kind of choose your own adventure game to come up with your TBR, so I thought it'd be fun to do that with you. I've got my laptop here, and yeah, let's get into it. Okay. Oh, this is cute! Welcome to Gothtober. Right. Oh my god, my head, I can't, where am I? Summer camp, derelict warehouse, or gothic mansion. I would simply not be at a summer camp. I feel like I can't see a reason why I would be at a derelict warehouse, so we'll go gothic mansion. Abercrombie Manor, a large gothic house. I like the Raven Boys reference. I came with my friends, my family, my partner. Okay, what partner? I don't know what family. I came with my friends. They're hosting a charity banquet. It's why I'm wearing formal wear. I'm here as a guest. Servant's uniform. I need money. Jeans, which is why I feel totally underdressed. I want to be wearing formal wear, so we'll go with that. Oh my god, what was that? Nothing, definitely something, or I don't know. Anyway, I'm forever paranoid, so it's definitely something. Wait, is that a voice? They're coming from the walls. It's probably my friends. It sounds like a ghost. Well, I'm forever paranoid, so it's probably not my friends. I'm gonna say it's a ghost rather than the walls. I hate this. I'm going to find somewhere I feel safe. I'm going back to the library, the dining room, or the gardens. The library feels spooky, and the gardens also feel spooky. I feel like there's people in the dining room, more likely, so I feel like that's probably where I'd go. And maybe I'll pick up a weapon whilst I'm at it. I've always been handy with a fireplace poker, a tome, or a candelabra. I feel like the fireplace poker, maybe not intentionally, but in my brain that is a Susan Stowe Hewitt reference of... Oh my god, which book was it? Was it Hogfather? Maybe, by Terry Pratchett? Anyway, we're going with the fireplace poker because I can't. But I'm a Gothtober final girl. I will survive. And it'll be because I killed everyone else. I've had training. I'll get a team together. I mean, realistically, I will have just accidentally got distracted, wandered off, and missed all the action. But within this scenario, I feel like I've got a team together. Okay, so this is my TBR. Read a gothic mood read book. Read a book with backstabbing or betrayal as a key theme. Read a beautiful book. Read a book by a BIPOC author. Read an LGBTQ book. Read a book with disability rep. Read a book you forgot you had. I have lots of those because a lot of my books are still in boxes. And read a book from the host's recommendations video. Read a book with fire language in the title or fire on the cover. Read a book with multiple survivors. Okay, so that is 10 prompts. That was fun. I really like that game. Okay, so I'm gonna go away and come up with a TBR list and come back to you in a few minutes' time. I had my list of prompts. First of all, I'm squeezing my 2 current reads into this list in the most implausible way possible. So first of all, the Blade itself, I am going to include, even though these books are not gothic. Well, you could argue that, actually I feel like Nona is not very gothic. The first book, Gideon, that could be gothic, I feel. But anyway, a lot of these books are not actually gothic reads, which I believe is not. You don't have to be reading exclusively gothic books for the Gothtober readathon, so it's all good. But anyway, the Blade itself, I'm putting under the backstabbing and betrayal prompt, because I feel like if there's not metaphorical backstabbing and betrayal at some point in this book, which I highly doubt there isn't going to be because there's a lot of like political intrigue going on, there has been literal backstabbing already in this book, so I've decided that fits. And then for the prompt for multiple survivors, I'm putting Nona under that prompt because I am manifesting. I am desperate for there to be multiple survivors from this book. Again, these are not like final girl survivor type situations, but I just so badly want multiple people to survive Nona the Ninth that I am putting it under this prompt in the hopes that that comes to be true. I have so many stacks of books. So for the first prompt, Gothic mood read, I'm just gonna pull a book from this stack at some point during the month. So it's like a mood read because I'm not really picking now. You get me. So first of all, these were on my autumnal TBR. The Archive of the Forgotten by AJ Hackworth feels kind of spooky, kind of relevant. Same with Babel by Abercrombie, which is a dark academia, which feels again very gothic adjacent. This is set in Oxford. Next up, these I feel like probably actually are more gothic. We've got Yellow Jessamine by Caitlin Starling. This was a birthday present from Aoife of Pretty Purple Polka Dots. Thank you very much, Aoife. I am very excited to get to this. I'm trying not to like collapse the books that are all in front of me. And this is a nice short little book, so chances are this is going to be the one I go for. This has got a House of Secrets, so it feels gothic. Also kind of gothic-y, like historical fiction. This is Things in Jars by Jess Kidd. I don't know if we'd call this gothic or if we'd just call this kind of vaguely spooky historical fiction, but it's in my stack. Same with The Corset by Laura Purcell. I've forgotten the title, but I've read another book by Laura Purcell, and I've got another one on my mental TBR. I've also got Bone China by the same author, which again are kind of vaguely spooky historical reads. And then Shirley Jackson, We Have Always Lived in the Castle. I feel like I don't need to explain why I feel like this fits into a gothic readathon. I think this was another birthday present. This is from Shannon of 155 Books 2 years ago for my birthday. That cover image, sorry for the glare, looks pretty gothic too. This again is a very loose interpretation of the theme of gothic, but this is Beyond the Black Door by A.M. Strickland. And the reason I decided this fit the gothic theme is because this has a door with a pulse. And I was like, you know what, that's close enough to fit under the gothic umbrella. This also has an asexual character, so it would also count for the LGBT prompt. I have selected books for every single prompt, but I've got 10 prompts here and a lot of them will double up. So I'm just, you know how I like to do my TBRs, giving myself a lot of options and then I'll kind of pick and choose and double up as I go. Next on my list is a beautiful book, and I actually have two for this because my original choice, oh my god, everything's falling. My original choice was The Deathless Girls by Kieran Millward Hargrave. This is so beautiful. Is it not so beautiful? And I've showed this book off before. The end papers, that naked hardback. Naked hardback gets me every time. But this is a young adult Brides of Dracula retelling, I think. And for some reason I just don't think I want to read it this month. So the actual book, but that's kind of also on my list. The book that I've put on the TBR for this prompt is Certain Dark Things by Silvia Moreno Garcia. Again, don't know how gothic this counts as. This is more of like a noir crime kind of books. Really not my genre, really not something I usually care about. But I read a couple of Silvia Moreno Garcia and really enjoyed them. And this is supernatural. This has vampires, Aztec blood drinkers, and it's set in Mexico City. It's stunning. Is this not stunning? And also it's fairly small, and this is quite a large TBR, so I feel like that will work in my favour. My next prompt is BIPOC author, and for this I am picking The Book Eaters by Sunny Dean, which I have on my Kindle. I wasn't sure if I wanted to read this because from what I've heard about it, it seems like it's more literary than fantastical, which is a trend in, not so much in publishing, but in like book selling or book marketing that really irritates me as a die-hard genre fiction lover. And you know me, you know I like my really well-buildy, heavy, crunchy sci-fi and fantasy, but a lot of the books that are marketed by like Waterstones or other booksellers or whatever, when they say, oh, upcoming sci-fi and fantasy, a lot of it is just very lightly fantastical or speculative fiction. And first of all, those are not my genres, so I'm always disappointed when I'm like, oh, this isn't as meaty as I wanted it to be. But it just irritates me because there's so much good like actual genre fiction out there, and I wish people would kind of commit to it when they're selling books to the general public. All of that to say, I wasn't sure where the Book Eaters falls, whether it is going to be proper fantasy or whether it's going to be like more literary with a fantastical element. Off the top of my head, I don't remember too much about this book, aside from the fact it is set in England, Britain, and there are several families who are book eaters and they're dying out, and I think they need to consume stories. It falls under this prompt, it feels gothic, and I wasn't gonna buy it in hardback, but then it was a 99p Kindle deal a little while ago, so I was like, I am interested, so I decided to pick it up, and this seems like the perfect time of year to read it as well, so that is on my TBR. It's such a TBR Diaries thing to do, to sneak a whole TBR video into a reading vlog. Anyway, my next prompt is LGBTQ book, and for this, this is not at all gothic. I have several choices again. I've got One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston and Boyfriend Material by Alexis Hall. These are both contemporary queer romances, and then I've also got, because of course the LGBT prompt, LGBTQ, why am I having such trouble? It's because I always say queer. I've also got A Marvelous Light by Freya Marske. This is historical and gay, and there's a library involved. And then I'm so excited about this, so I might reach for this, but it's a bit chunky. This could also fall under beautiful book, as could this, quite frankly, because look at those edges. Anyway, this is A Taste of Gold and Iron by Alexandra Rowland. This was a birthday present a few days ago from the lovely Anna over at Read to Me at Midnight. And this is a fantasy, this is gay, this is like a prince and his bodyguard. I can't wait. I actually haven't heard anything about this book, so for all I know it could be terrible. Found out about it when I was like researching some upcoming releases at the beginning of this year. It sounds great and I really want it to be good, so that's also a potential LGBTQ read. I don't know where I put this book. It's in a box with my other graphic novels, but for disability rep I am going to read Monstrous. I've actually got the first several volumes of this graphic novel, so I'm going to try and read several. For a book I forgot I presume this is like, you say it as square cubed. This is by Muir Grant. I forgot I had this. This is on my Kindle. I was kind of scrolling through to look for books for this TBR, and I came across it, and as I've said, forgot that I had it. This is a fairly short book, it's a novella. I love Muir Grant stuff, I've definitely spoken about her stuff before. Muir Grant is a pen name for Shannon Maguire. And all I know about this is that the monsters come through the fabric of reality, and it's something like physicsy, so it's like a physics horror, and that sounds really super cool. For a book that was recommended by one of the hosts, I've gone for The Hollow Places by T. Kingfisher, which was on Hannah's recommendations video. This is on my autumnal TBR, so I'm glad to kind of squeeze this into this TBR as well. So I've spoken about this recently, but this follows Kara, who finds like parallel worlds, kind of, or like doorways to other realities in her uncle's house, and spooky, creepy things happen. And then the last book I have to talk about is the prompt for fire language in the title or on the cover, and for that I'm going with The Jasmine Throne by Tasha Suri. This is book one in the Burning Kingdoms trilogy. Burning is a fire word, so we're going with that. This, honestly, I think could count for half the prompts, because this fire language, this is also a beautiful book. I think this cover's gorgeous. We've got the pretty sprayed edges. We've got this foiling. So it's a beautiful book. It's a BIPOC author. It's LGBTQ. There is a sapphic relationship in this book. This was one of the like sapphic trifecta of new releases in 2021. I think this also features backstabbing and or betrayal. That's 5 out of the 10 prompts, so I could just read this and be done with half of them. I actually don't remember what this is about because this book came out last year. I have the sequel, which I know I probably shouldn't have ordered having not read the first book. This is a princess and a priestess. It's sapphic. I feel like it's emotionally devastating. Apparently is what I like in a book. There's magic. I feel like there's planty nature magic. I think it's maybe what the priestess is up to. I could be completely wrong, that sounds very cool and very interesting. So this is why I love doing TBRs, because I'm now really excited about all of these books. Hello pals, it's Sunday. I've been listening to Nona the 9th. I've got 3 hours of listening time left, but in terms of the book, I think I'm nearly 3/4 of the way through. What the fuck? I'm having a lot of feelings. I once again nearly started crying while I was doing my makeup. I've really got to stop listening to audiobooks that are going to emotionally destroy me while I'm trying to put eye makeup on. It's just not a good time. Once again, I can't give you any specifics because it'll be massive spoilers, and truly I'm not entirely sure what's happened, just that I'm having a lot of feelings about it. I have to go to Tesco's. I was like, oh yeah, I'll like go to Tesco's, and then on the walk and on the way around I can listen to the audiobook. I have a feeling if I do that I might start sobbing my eyes out in like the vegetable aisle or something, so maybe I won't do that, but I'm gonna get this finished today because, like I said, I've got 3 hours of listening left and it's like midday, so plenty of time for that. I really wish I was reading it physically. I really do wish I was reading it physically, because there are some things I just need to like run past my brain again to make sure that I actually process them. Which like you can do on audio, but it's a bit more fiddly and annoying, so I tend to not. I tend to just listen to it. There's a possibility that whenever my pre-order does arrive, assuming it arrives at some point in my lifetime, I might reread it, or reread some parts anyway. It's just so fucking good. It's so good. I feel like with all of the books in this series, they are perhaps a little bit slow to get going, or a little bit slow to get to like, not even slow to get to the action, because I'm trying to think about these books in the whole series that I've read. And obviously having reread the first two multiple times, the timeline of events is a little bit skew with in my brain because I know what happened, but they are maybe a little bit slow to get going, or by the time you realize that you're in the action and the excitement, it kind of catches you by surprise almost, because things happen but it builds up in such a way that it's not like you're plodding along and having a boring scene and then suddenly there's an action scene. It's just at some point throughout the book you're suddenly like, oh holy shit, when did things get so intense and so high stakes? Like how did that happen? Which I love. I think is fantastic. When was it? Yesterday I was about halfway through, and then some like serious shit started to hit the fan, and before that we've been just kind of like observing Nona's day-to-day life almost, and obviously there was hints at some things that were going on. There were some like mysteries that were being presented to you, and some things that I was thinking, oh, I wonder if that relates to this thing that happened in a previous book, or if this character is related to like this character in some type of a way. So I was kind of, there was a lot to think about, but there was nothing really like dramatic or intense happening. And then some things happened at halfway through, and then since then there's just been things have been happening, and I'm not feeling okay about it, but at the same time I'm loving it. This is everything that I wanted. So yeah, I don't know how useful of an update that was, but in terms of the pacing, this book is similar to the previous two, in the sense also that you're thrown into basically a whole new world with whole new characters. Like I've not met another series where each entry in the series, despite being a direct sequel, somehow manages to present you with a whole new world, a whole new set, not a whole new world, but like a whole new setting, a whole new cast of characters. The characters that you do know are somehow not the same characters as you knew before. So each book is kind of throwing you in at the deep end every time. But again, it's done in a way that I think really works and that I really enjoy, and I'm just kind of going along for the ride. But I can see why some people don't like that. But you know, we can't all be fun. That's my reading update. I've not read any more of the other book that I'm reading. I've obviously not started on my TBR that I came up with at like 9 o'clock last night. But yeah, I'm focusing my energies on Nona today. That's probably all I'm going to read today, but like I've said about 6 times, I am determined to get this book finished today, and I really think I will, because I need to know. It's cold. I'm back in the thing. I've just finished Nona the 9th. What the fuck was that? I am very upset and I'm very confused. And I'm actually really warm now because I'm so upset. I need the physical book because I need to reread those last couple of chapters, like with my face, to actually process what's going on, because I don't process things very well when I'm just hearing them. I don't know how to come to terms with what's just happened. I need the next book. We're getting Electra in 2023, right? So that was incredible, and I'm feeling a lot of feelings right now that I didn't know was gonna happen. As predicted, I think, when I started reading this book, not a single question has been answered. Not a single fucking question has been answered. Maybe, no. But I have about 50 more questions, and I knew one of the things that happened right at the end, I knew it was going to happen right before it happened, and it just about fucking killed me. These books are amazing, and I think I need to go dissociate for like an hour, because that was a lot. And that's it. That's what you're getting from me on this. So I think I'm about to go and consume every single scrap of Nona the Ninth related content that I can find on the internet to try and come to terms with what has just happened. What is my review of this book? What do you think my review of this book is? If you liked the first two, you'll like this. It's, in terms of the roller coaster, it's more of the same. The pacing is more of the same, as I discussed in the last clip, I think. As I discussed previously. God, I'm still in academic mode, aren't I? But yeah, the pacing is more of the same. There's kind of a lot of sudden, shocking moments that do feel like they're happening a bit too quickly, and I can see why people don't like that, but I truly just think it wouldn't work any other way. I loved characters more in this, and I think it was kind of the point of the book, and that's also the way the book, not the marketing as much as just the cover and the vibes that you get from the book, like the cover and the blurb. The characters in this book were a lot more lovable. I felt very emotionally attached to the characters themselves, whereas previously I've just been but I've been more emotionally invested in relationships between various characters, although dear God, that also happened with this book. So I think I'm gonna end this weekly vlog here, because otherwise I'm just gonna ramble for 10 minutes about how I'm not okay about this book, and I don't need to do that for 10 minutes straight. So that's this weekly reading vlog. I hope that you enjoyed. I have certainly had a time. I actually don't know how to finish this off. I'm just very much in my feelings. So yes, I finished a grand total of 1 book this week. I don't think I'm going to read anything else tonight. I think I just need to sit with what's just happened. But hey, that's not too bad. I hope that you've enjoyed this weekly reading vlog. And I will catch you in the next one. Bye bye.